Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Energy Speaks Back, powered by B2B Energy. My name is Paul Webb. I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and I'm also your host. And each week, I bring to you energy experts from around the world. This is episode 166. Our purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. Welcome, energy enthusiasts, to another enlightening episode of Energy Speaks Back, where I delve deep into our guest origin and their knowledge within our industry. Please engage with comments and the poll after this episode. Today, I'm thrilled to interview an expert in the waste to energy sector and cogeneration. So without further ado, let's open up the knowledge with Pierre Emmanuel. Good afternoon, Pierre. How are you today?
Good. I'm fine, thanks. A little bit busy after a long weekend, but that's fine. I'm very, very good. Thank you.
And already we've sort of found out something quite unique. You're French. You've worked all over Europe as such, based in northern France when you was growing up, but also you live in the UK in Newport.
Yeah, I'm living in UK, in Newport, for family reasons, and so because there's a kind of proximity also in between France and UK, even if the infrastructures are a little bit different, and the approach of the infrastructure, in particular for energy, the approach is very different. In particular for my case, where from the beginning of my career I was more focused on the conventional way of producing energy, passing through the fusion to energy with ITER in the south of France, and for I would say the last 15 years, where I'm focused more in how to value waste to energy.
Brilliant. So we've met on LinkedIn. We've learned a little bit about each other, but I'd like to go through that most of that again today. So as I've met you, I'd like for you now to share your origin story with our audience. So let our audience know who is Pierre, what he's all about, and his origin story.
I would say that Pierre is a man who put in priority the relationship in between human. I'm very interested in connecting people to get together. I'm coming from a family where there were fishermen, my mother in civil engineering, building schools, and such a kind of buildings. And the energy has always been my building energy has always been something I really focused on. I've worked for 16 years after British Petroleum, 16 years as a project manager, project director, and engineering director for Suez in France. I had the chance to meet a wonderful mentor who probably has made who I am today. He was someone, if I can name him, because
Yeah, please do.
his name was Erminio Tonoli. He's dead. He died 10 years ago,
Oh.
and we have been very, very, very close together. He was the guy. During all the time I was working with him, he was telling me that I was naive. And of course, at that time, I was quite young, and it was very frustrating to me at that time, because we do not always understand what the things are meaning. And but finally, after 5 years, I said, Herminio, you have to stop telling me that I'm naive, because I don't even it developed a lot my critical mindset. But also, it's a little bit frustrating for me, because sometimes I don't even believe what I'm saying also myself. And he said, Pierre, I don't understand why you're acting like that, because it was absolutely not a blame. It's I thought it was a compliment. I say, of course, you don't.
Right.
I've missed something somewhere at that time. Because he was right. He said that if you would know in advance all what you had to face, because at that time, in 5 years, we built 4 power plants together. if you would have known all what you had to face as difficulties, uh, issue, problems, you would have just run away.
Mm.
So you need some time to be naive, just to dare. And it has changed everything in my career. With another things, he explained to me that we were like on Jongra, just playing with three balls. Each ball has a name, history, what you know, your background, your culture, creativity. In our job today, starting from scratch, it doesn't happen so often, but in particular, how to adapt uh, problems and answer to needs according the new technology, what's available now, and philosophy. Why are we doing things? To define the essence of the need. And when you play with those three balls, you always are successful because you know what you are doing with what and from where. That's
Mm.
very important.
And
So
you
it has
you use those principles all the time, even in today's world.
all the time,
Wow.
every day. Is at the question is my answer and answer the essence of the need. Today, I could just take an example. I just take an example. Today you ask me to build you a box. I can make the beautiful box, pearls, very nice decorations on the top. If you cannot open the box, it's useless.
Mm.
And even in the concept, you have to try to find the the easiest way, the simplicity. And it's very difficult to get a simple process. It's very difficult. We can see that today they are in control command in the energy system. We can see that also in the network in the infrastructure with what's going on with the renewable energy and things like that, and what I call the magic mirror and the and the windmill. But it's we have to find something simple. That's the essence. And when we can find that, it's sustainable, it answers the needs, and it's easy to maintain. That's the most important.
Yeah. When we were speaking earlier, you was telling us about your family and where all this starts to begin with your father as a fisherman and your mother, and you've spent a lot of time driving all these different vehicles and
Uh,
really advancing yourself personally.
with with my grandfather, it was very important because he educated me and brought me values, loyalty, respect of your world, ethics, uh, the this prime value to say that before being a chief or a leader, you must be an example, and as a leader, you are first responsible of your team, whatever it happened.
Mm.
And that's what I said with my colleagues and with my teams that what's happened in the team stay in the team. That's very, very important. And but of course, I've also uh, got expertise and experience with everything concerning energy, engines, hydraulics, pneumatics, electricity, or rotative machineries, and and also I would say the the responsibility it means, because with such a kind of power, any mistake may have massive impact, uh, even for human as well.
Hmm.
So this is you all my let's say my origins have made who I am, a man who put the human in the center of the game. Anything we are doing today for energy, even if it's just an EDG, I mean, emergency diesel generator, I would mean, or a little power plant somewhere, that's producing the energy which is going to develop a local microeconomy. It can be a little school if it's in Africa. It can be hospital. Can be a microeconomy because there is light during the night, so they can continue to produce. There is this. Uh, I had I would say, um, an exception in my career. In 2013 and 14, I've lived 2 years in Iraq and I built a football stadium in Nasiriyah in Iraq.
Wow.
I would say that it's still today, uh, in my mind, a wonderful human experience. There were so much things I've learned there when I arrived in a village after the war, where it was a little bit difficult for safety reason. And step by step, what we have done, what we have explained. Finally, all the town were favorable to the project, where we were supposed to bring 640,000 cubic meters of granulate but we couldn't collect it locally because this area was salty for the concrete. It was not matching, so most should have come from Iranian border. Instead of that, we bought a stone crusher from the carrier, and we have asked the people to collect all the rubbles after the war. So we crushed it. We were paying the people for that, and and people were bringing the rubbles with stone, and we have saved 2/3 of the materials necessary for the project. So of course we and after I could have gone everywhere in the mud. Nothing would have ever happened to me. It was absolutely safe for us. This is the kind of connection we can have. And all along my career, it has been the same uh, uh, the, the same process. Build things with the people. As a leader, Uh, I don't want to be too directive. I let the people express themselves. I don't want to say, I don't want to, excuse me for this picture, but I don't want them as a baby chick in the nest to do only
To
what I'm
follow.
telling
Yeah,
to
yeah,
to do only what I'm telling them to do.
yeah.
It's they are we are wasting their creativity and we are losing their responsibility mindset.
Mm.
You want from your team to propose. It's much more
Yeah.
beneficial to the project.
And the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, isn't it? Sometimes when you're
Yes,
all
yes,
working on the
yes,
same thing.
absolutely. As I said, it's always much more interesting to work with people more intelligent than I am. It's, it's much more beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned you built some power plants with your
Uh,
mentor. Well,
uh,
whereabouts were they?
in all my career, I've been 17 power plants in my
Wow.
career. Uh, some were big, some were a little much more smaller.
Yeah, yeah.
Built power plants in Paris with gas turbine, steam turbine, in China as well. That's my biggest project, where it was seven time 485 megawatt
Yeah.
gas turbine in combined cycle, and that's big machinery, but. And for the last after uh, waste incinerator, uh, I've worked for a company in particular where I've discovered the pyrolysis system, and today I have a company uh, that who is acting like an extending owner engineer process, but specifically focused on the waste to energy, because those projects are very, very special animals where the market is not well established. There's not so much structure about uh, for carbon credit, biochar. Well, it's even if such a kind of assets are very, very, very efficient, but also a lot of new technologies are emerging today, and it's very. I think, to my point of view, that is going to be much quickly. It's going to be uh, a massive alternative to to solar panel and to because it can be big, it can be small. Some process can process 100,000 tons a year,
Mm.
and in particular for some waste which could be hazardous as well. Sometimes where you sort out the problem, because at the end of the day, the problem is always landfill. And if we can find solutions that you can avoid the landfill and value that for energy, but also for byproducts, uh, it's very, very flexible. And you can pilot such a kind of production asset, which is not the case with the solar panel. You cannot
Yeah.
or the wind.
And it resolves other problems, doesn't it? You know, instead
It
of us
was
having to put waste into the
it,
waste into
it's
the land.
yeah, it's a win-win situation in any
Yeah.
case. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a win-win situation in any case. There's just take an example today. There's a waste called ASR, automotive shredding residue, and the regulation is getting very, very, very strict. Landfill potential is reducing constantly, and the price per ton is going to double in the next 2 years.
Wow.
And it's hazardous. Today, there is technology that we are developing with Atecma and partners. We will have no landfill. We are going to use the byproduct as a let's say as a sand or a gravel. That's very powerful. That you're producing electricity, so you can feed the parasitic load, but also what is necessary for the recycling. And there is massive things today together. We are ahead of such a kind of things. And just in ASR, the production is about 4 million tons per year. So, and we have to consider also in such a kind of product that today, if I take, for example, just take the cars, for example, today we are processing the cars which have been built 20 years ago. In 20 years, cars will be quite different, and materials in the car will be quite different. So you have to consider this progress and these evolutions in the feedstock nature.
Yeah.
And this is and we are with Atecma, we're quite proud to focus on that and to bring good, viable solution and bankable solution. And it's flexible. That's very, very important. It's flexible.
Do you think there's a lot of appetite around doing the waste to energy and providing these solutions? You know, from my industry of energy management, obviously we become barriered around, you know, just focusing on energy management. And I know there's all other forms of energy sustainability with solar, wind, etc. And I often talk about waste to energy because it's a no-brainer for me, because you know everyone's producing it every week. The council picks up all our black bags to take them over the road, so I can look out my back window and I can see the landfill. Sometimes it's like a big mountain and then it just starts to go down like this.
Yeah,
Every
but
now and
there's
then it goes up. For me, I'd like them to start digging all the old stuff up and recycling all that as well, if we could.
yeah, that's also an issue that our ATECMA today is sorting out, because of course there is what the day-to-day production, but there is also the fact that all what have been a landfill before, it's like if there would be some other resources landfill before. So that means that the resources is continuously progressing,
Mm.
increasing, but because of we are consumers every day, we're consumers,
Yeah, of
and
course, yeah.
we are consumers. But but we have the capacity to go and fetch what have been landfilled in the past,
Mm.
to process it, and then increase capacity for some other things.
Yeah,
And so there is always a capacity, and the most important is that pilotable. We can it's it's just there. It's like a switch on, switch off.
yeah.
switch on when you need it. You can
Yeah.
call for the power when you need. And there's a and there is and as well there is a you can treat you can process such a kind of waste locally.
Yeah.
That's the you don't need to go and fetch the gas from the other side of the planet or like LPG from where. No,
And
it's
and, and,
there.
and and sail it around the world
Yeah,
to take
it's
it from
yeah,
A to
sorry,
B.
yeah,
It's on our doorstep, isn't it?
and producing CO2 just for the transportation. No, it's
Yeah.
there. It's around. And
Mm.
because you are saving, if you put such a kind of asset just next to the production because it doesn't need so much place, you are saving transportation. You're producing locally. You reduce the volume of infrastructure because, of course, when you have to 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 uh, to drive a wire from place to another, no, it's there. It's just there. A
Yeah.
local, everything is there, and it's I. It's gonna be a future for that.
Mm.
Gonna be a future. And of course, there is some biomass. There's also things for the biomass where the products are used for the soil regenerations. We
Yeah.
have projects like this. Like that. So there is,
And pushing back the metal, maybe.
yeah,
If we're going to sort it, we're going to put that into. If we start sorting it, we can then move the metal to one side and the biomass to the other side. So there's
uh,
a benefit there, isn't there?
absolutely. There is always a benefit there, and and also it's the energy needs just for transfers those feedstock from a place to another is much reduced as well. So it's beneficial. It's a win-win situation in any case.
Yeah.
And even today, the solution we are proposing are able to recycle the wind turbine blade.
Yeah.
So we are and recycle also the solar cells, recycle but value that. So we are able to value the waste coming from the renewable energy system also.
Mm.
So we are much in advance compared to that. We have nothing to compare with the nuclear power. Well, it's not the same. We don't have those. We're not pretending to be as powerful than the
Everything
the
has its
nuclear.
place, doesn't it? Everything has its place.
Everything has its place.
Yeah.
But sometimes I realize today that in the infrastructure and it has been uh, the 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 speech and the how things are explained to the people is not exactly as it should be. It's
No.
not real. We have seen that with what happens recently in Spain with this blackout in Spain. I
Yeah.
think they are explaining to you that the problem is coming from the renewable energy. No, it's not. It's not the production which is the problem. It's that the development of the production increased so much that the network behind has not been adapted to that.
Yeah.
There is no harmonic filters. There is nothing like that. And they are explaining a lot of things. But indeed, the need in investment for the production assets is the same that for the network as well.
Yeah. Can I just take you one step back?
Mm.
Waste to energy is a win-win situation. But where are
Yes.
our challenges? What's the challenges that we have?
I think that we are challenging a lack of pragmatism coming from the authorities. There is a massive need of education to and also the norms, the norms, even if they are very important, the norms are most of the time conflictual. And that's the main problem. So it's always the same, education and norms. When that will be sorted out, uh, things will get much better I think.
And then can I bring you into your
After
phrases?
all, the
How
free
can we
balls, yeah.
bring the free balls into this? I'd be very interested to hear your story around that.
Um, but it's exactly what I'm doing with Atecma today. Nick. Today uh, we have the fixed stock producer, the waste producer. us. It's us. It's the society producing that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the
So that's the history, isn't it?
that's the history.
Yeah.
But there's also those people, they are focused on their business. And I cannot blame them for that. Someone who is, who, or let's say, recycling metals, they are focused on their business, which is recycling metal.
Mm.
And the problem is that their job is not to produce energy. Their job is to recycle metal.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for them to manage such a kind of project with permitting, planning, all what's going on with the environmental assessment, feasibility, funding. They are lost in it. It's so complex for them. I can understand them. Instead of that, I take my coming, say that you have a project, we have a project, you have a feedstock, we have a perfect knowledge of your feedstock. We are going to manage this project on your behalf as owner engineer because it's our expertise, and we are going to select what is the most adapted technology, and I can assure you that Atecma is completely technology agnostic. Of course, we're working with partners because we need to know what are the technologies and the most viable technology, and we're working also to assist such a kind of uh, 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 partners to develop their own according to need. Coming back from this philosophy, what is the essence of the need? And also those company or technology provider, they are focused on their process, on the engineering. There is a gap in between the one who produce and the one who produce. So Atecma is building the chain, the value chain, the process chain, not only engineering, but also, I would say, project engineering,
Mm.
and to adapt all the I use this as figure out that in that way. That there's a box of Lego blocks. We take care that we are using all the blocks which are the same color to get something homogeneous and simple, can be understood by each part of each stakeholder of the project. And also we are, because communicate in our world, communication is very, very important as well. We are going to build the story. We explain why we're doing things, how we are doing things, what are the added value, what could be also the constraints, what could just to make uh, 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 an homogeneous process so everybody can identify the needs and the constraints in the process. That's very, very important today. I've seen so much in my career, developers working and focusing on something there, something there, something there, and making wonderful risk analysis, but losing this, what I think is the most important, is how to explain how things will be and why we are doing things.
Mm.
That's there's I've seen that so many times, and in UK in particular. I mean, for the time I spent in UK, I've seen so much project which have failed because of that, or because they were uh, some kind in UK. There's for power plants. It's a graveyard for projects in circuit sometimes there's a lot of things, and but there is also very, very good company. I've had the honor to work for Centrica in UK,
Right.
and it's a very good company. I kept very good relationship with them, and there is there there is very there is company in UK which are very variable, very, very variable. But it's like that in any country as well.
Let's talk about your career because when we talked offline, we talked about you being semi-retired and you laughed and said you would never be
I'll never be.
semi-retired
I'll never
because,
be.
and then another thing you mentioned right at the beginning of today, you used the word love, which for me is the passion that you have. I can feel the passion today
That's
through my headphones.
it's definitely a passion I have because this uh, such a kind of assets is first, it's a teamwork. As I told you a little bit before, that there is nothing more valuable than working with people who are more intelligent than you,
Yeah.
and it's because you are still learning, and
Mm.
we both have gray hair, and so after some time, it's good to change the side of the road and to transmit instead of receiving, and working with young engineer, uh, the or and also listening people, what I'm calling the blue collar, the people who are on site,
Yeah.
who have the hands in the oil and grease every day, explaining you why things are doing what it's doing. You understand?
Yeah.
You learn that's it, and and to make a connection in between all those people, that's fascinating. Yes, that's fascinating.
I found the grayer. Thank you for saying I'm grey just as much as yourself. But I find the grayer I've got, the more hungry I am to learn more. And I'm a great believer in lifelong learning and really, picking something new up and really understanding. I'm constantly, even last week, I was researching some stuff in energy management. And this is why I love doing this. I use the word love there, this podcast, because I'm learning more from people like yourself, these conversations.
uh, it's I think this is the what make our, let's say, position more and more more we progress in the world, more and more interesting, because more you know, more you realize that there is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And and it's never ending story. And as well, um, you learn. Of course, there's a technology wise and things like that. There is new technology, but you what I think we learn the most, it's how to explain in an easy way, an understandable way.
Yeah.
Uh, I
I
think
call
that,
it, and I call that the art. It's articulating,
yeah,
isn't it? Being
yeah.
able to articulate what we do.
I have another way to say it. I said that with more experience you get, more you learn how to listen.
Exactly.
It is very, very important. It's very, very important.
Mm.
And and from there, I think that that's make my our
Yeah.
life so interesting.
And
Interesting.
do you know your mentor, who you said sadly passed? He's still here today. I can feel him in your conversation and
Oh,
the word you're bringing. That
oh
legacy's
yes.
still there, isn't it?
Oh yes, so many times when I'm thinking about a strategy, how to approach things like that, I will always say in my mind, looking at the sky or at
Oh,
the cloud in UK or something.
now.
Oh no, no, I mean it rains only twice a year in UK, once 3 months, once 6 months. But I always look at there. I said, "Hey, Arminio, what you would have told me about it?"
Yeah.
And it, it's a way to step back. To
Yeah.
it's what I used to say, that that is the same thing for you and me, but we don't have the same picture.
Yeah.
Everything belongs to the perspective we have on it.
Yeah.
But what is the point of view? And it's
So for
very,
for
very
the benefit
important.
of the audience, you showed a pen there.
Yes, I have
I'm
sort
gonna
of this.
I'm gonna tell you something that I think is quite radical. So that pen was yellow, yeah?
Yeah,
What I see as yellow and what you see as yellow could be two different things, but we still
absolutely.
call it yellow. So that's,
Yes.
I think we're getting very profound now in our old age and talking now,
Mm,
but do you not feel that that's why when you got groups of people working and we're
mm,
all working together, collaborating, which is, I think,
yeah.
is a very important subject.
It's very important because, as I said, sometimes the the way you are presenting uh, an asset could be completely understood in a different way by some others.
Yeah.
Um, my mentor told me as well that if you want to be listened, if you want people hear you, you have to be on the same frequency.
Mm.
And that's what we learn with experience as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's very important.
Well, Peter, look, we're coming to that stage of the interview where it's about us giving back, and you've given some amazing things here, and you've brought stuff from your mentor, which has been amazing to give back. But is there anything you can give back today to our audience as a takeaway for them to go forward within our industry?
Uh, I will confess that I'm not sure I've understood perfectly your question. So if you could tell me
Okay.
again, I'm not sure I understood.
No,
Sorry
that's
for
okay.
that. I'm not native. So
This goes out to energy experts around the world. Someone's going to listen to this today. Is there anything you could give them as some advice? What should they be doing? What should they be reading? What should they be listening to? What should they do on a day to day? Is there anything? You mentioned one thing about being on the same frequency and listening. Is there something you, Pierre, would like to share with someone today?
to share, always taking care that what we are designing is at the right scale. It has different dimension in that. It's question of size, power, local capacity to maintain the asset, uh, the 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 uh, the, pot, the potential to train local people to operate the plant. Um, it's very important that the asset is adapted to the environment.
Mm,
Adapted to the environment. Not on. I'm not talking only for environmental aspect, nature aspect, but all the tissue around this plant. This is very, very important. Very, very important. To my point of view, this is a key of success for a project.
yeah,
Yeah, it's to have the right scale, the adequate asset.
yeah.
That's very important. Very important.
100% agree with that. And I like the way you mentioned the local people, the local environment. I'm going to tell a story about when I started my career in nuclear power. We had, so I worked at Bradwell Nuclear Power Station, very large um, building on the coast in Essex. And you know, the people that worked in the power station were all living locally, which is what you're alluding to. And in addition to that, admittedly, the fuel import wasn't coming from local sources. However, it was generating electricity locally. So it basically covered the whole of the Essex area for baseload electricity, which for me, I've never thought of it like that. But you're right in what you're saying, localizing both the power, the asset. That's what you're using, the word asset. And I think
Yeah,
that's important.
it's
But
very
we forget that,
important.
don't we? We forget that.
It's very important also because when you know that for such a kind of asset, when time for commissioning is coming, we are also training the team, local team who is going to operate the plant, and it's very important as well because it makes people proud of the asset.
Yeah.
It makes people proud of what they have learned to operate this plant. Proud to be useful to the society around because they're producing energy. To be
Mm.
proud to be contributive to the economic development around and the infrastructure attached to that. It's a and because they are proud of the asset, they take much more care of the
Of course
asset.
they
Like
do.
when you buy your car, it's your first car. You would wash it every day if you do. And they are doing. And after some time, they know the asset. They know its noise. As you said, you remember. I like this little story that uh, a guy with a big engine has had a problem, and he asked a mechanician to to come. And these old mechanicians listen the engine, just take a hammer and talk, talk, and the problem was sorted. The client asked how much it cost. You say, "God, £10,000. Oh, it's so expensive. You spend only 5 minutes next to engine." Yes, there is 98%, 2% for the knock with the hammer, and 98% for the 30 years experience I'm bringing to you.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we are doing today.
I thought you was going to say for knowing exactly where to hit it.
Yes, exactly. But
Mm.
it's and when we are building an asset which is adapted to local needs and the scale and which is then you never hear about it anymore. And it has a massive impact on the OPEX as well. Because there is less breakdown, less loss of production. People are able to say, "I've heard something there with the pump, something is going so you just swap for the one which is in redundancy." They know their tools, and that's always beneficial for the infrastructure and for the people.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's a little bit sometimes too idealistic, I would say, but I keep that in mind always.
Yeah. Well, Pierre, I'd like to say thank you very much. And I personally would like to extend these conversations. We would love for you to come back and talk more about your industry and your
Pleasure. With
expertise.
pleasure.
Absolutely amazing. And I love the way you're bringing in the mentor and you're talking about your way of working. Is absolutely very. I'm looking forward to listening to this one as well. So thank you very much for your time. It's
Thank
much
you very much.
appreciated you joining us.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
And please, Pierre, you and your family, you stay safe in these times. Thank you to my guest for joining me today on Energy Speaks Back. I'm very proud and humbled to have the opportunity to interview energy experts from around the world, and I hope you found today's episode of value. Don't forget to listen to the previous episodes because they are full of insights to help you make a real impact on energy efficiency. And remember, tiny changes that we make today can bring us profound savings in the future. Together, we can drive change and make a difference. That leaves me with one more thing to say. Please, you and your family, be safe in these times.